Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. Definitely one of the more common questions I get, and I guess something that we talk about much more frequently than a lot of other things when it comes to option trading is how to best uh, select the right time frame to like meet like the goal of your trade, right? And I mean, I've definitely done a bunch of videos talking about this in the past, and I mean, I feel like it's just one of those like those universal questions that always comes up when people are talking about option trading. And I mean, different traders may have like different ways of approaching this. Mine has kind of always revolved around using like the chart and using like the stock's history as kind of like a guide with how I want to select my time frame. And breaking it down to just basically like as simple as I can. I mean, I just say like short-term trades. So like trades that screen on your radar or pop on your radar as like intraday moves or maybe like 1 to 2 day moves. I mean, to me, those typically lend themselves to shorter-term options, right? So if you're only going to be day trading something and you know that you're only looking at like 1 minute charts or 5 minute charts, right? Then that probably lends itself to more short-term options like the weeklies or even like 2 weeks out, right? Or if you only look at like daily charts, or if you only look at weekly charts, or if you look at monthly charts, then you probably aren't really interested in the weekly options because those only give you a couple days for your trade to work, right? So if you're screening for setup based off of a monthly chart, then it doesn't really make sense to go with contracts that expire in a couple days, right? Because if the monthly setup is interesting, then you want to make sure you have enough time to let the monthly setup develop, right? So, just kind of like oversimplifying it, that's kind of how I always describe to people what the thought process is when it comes to trading, right? Or trading options. And one of the things that I like to do is used what I kind of call like the average monthly move, right? So like the average move, like top to bottom, that a stock will make for like a month, right? So like the trading range, so like the high of the month, like the low of the month, right? So like I kind of walk that off maybe over like the last 4 to 5, 6 months, whatever the relevant time frame is, because stocks' personalities can change, the volatility around a stock can change over like 1 to 2 years. So I'm more interested in what it's done recently, or maybe even within the last 12 months. So just as an example, right, like Under Armour, obviously it's had a really great run, right? Just awesome move off the low. Looks like it's really turning the corner. Some people, I mean, maybe if they're only trading like 1 to 2 days out or one to 2 weeks out, they're saying stock has had a huge run. It's overextended. It's already had its move. Doesn't really interest me, right? And I understand that. So depending on your time frame, right? But for me, I was doing some chart work, and when I started to look at it, I went out like a few days to like a few weeks, and you see that what's actually happened is that yes, Under Armour's had a large rebound, but at the same time, Under Armour's reset a huge yearly/monthly support range, right? And historically, so since 2018, when it's got above the 17 to 18 level and it's bounced off this level, it's oftentimes carried it into like the 20s, so like mid 20s, sometimes low 20s, but 20s regardless, right? So the fact that the stock is up a lot over the last month, I acknowledge that, but at the same time, I look at what it's done historically, right? So weekly or monthly, and when I see it resets this level, that seems to indicate even more upside, but over like a longer time frame, right? So using like again like the 3 day chart or the weekly chart or even like the monthly chart as my guide to really getting involved with this trade, then I need to design an option strategy. So I want options that give this type of time frame or give this trade enough time frame to really develop, right? And what you can use is and kind of what I was talking about is like the average range for that stock for the month, right? And just it doesn't have to be exact precise, but you say like the high in November was around 1750, right? The low was 14. So for that month, average trading range was about 3.5, right? So in October, opened around say 1050, 1075, and then the high of that month was closer to like 14, almost 15. So like 325 or so, something in like that ballpark. Maybe even like a little bit more, right? The month before that. So you can see what I'm doing. It's just like the low of the month, which is right like at 975, and the high of the month is around like 12 and change. So a little bit more, like two and a half. So two and a half, three and a half, three and a half, right? So it doesn't have to be exact, but you kind of get an idea of when the stock is moving, what's the type of average move it can make over like that month stretch, right? So if you see like two and a half, three and a half, three and a half, then ballparking, you're looking at maybe like 3 to 3.25 average move. So if I'm targeting for the stock a 3 point move, then I just want to say like I need probably at least 1 month, maybe a little bit more to be conservative, right? If I'm targeting a 5 to 6 point move, right, then I want at least 2 months, maybe a little bit more. So maybe I go out like a third month just to be more conservative, right? So I'm using the trading range of the stock as my guide, right? And when I try to error on like the side of time, I try to error on having slightly too much as opposed to slightly too little, because I'd rather pay for a little bit extra time and not need it versus pay for too little time and want it, right? So again, I mean, like this is something that we talk about a lot, and this is just one example, but I mean, there's all sorts of different examples that like pop up on a day-to-day basis, and I just wanted to like walk through my thought process regarding this and just kind of how I go about it. This is for like longer term swings, but like short term trades, like day trades, I mean, like that's not as thought intensive. I mean, it's like a short term trade. I'm thinking short term options, right? So like those are just like like weekly options, very very short term. All right. So I hope this helps clear things up. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. You know where to find me on the VTF during the day. So I'm happy to like walk through this more in depth. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information on option swing trading or more information on like breaking down option trades like I just did, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. I hope you have a wonderful night. Stay well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.